we will be under assessment, we will be under measure of computation in every aspect of our lives in the future. From what you eat, who you date, what you buy on the internet, how much energy you use.
Ce qui est clair dans ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence, et je dirais même une transparence totale. Regardez par exemple la discussion qu'on a eue en concernant le système bancaire, le secret bancaire. Tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Oui, naturellement, ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien à cacher, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
Vous dites, on vivra tous dans une sorte de transparence totale, tôt ou tard.
Oui, exactement.
For the first time in history, it's possible to completely eliminate privacy. It was just never possible before, and it is possible now. Something fundamental has changed. I mean, dictators always dreamt about completely eliminating privacy, monitoring everybody all the time and knowing everything you do, and not just everything you do, but even everything you think and everything you feel. Whether it's a tyrant in ancient Greece or whether it's Stalin, they always dreamt about it. They could never do it because it was technically impossible. Now it's possible. Monitoring everybody all the time and knowing everything you do, and not just everything you do, but even everything you think and everything you feel.
Hi, can I ask you something? How would you like it if the government recorded everything you think, feel, and dream? And how would you like it if your life was completely controlled by us, humanoid robots? We would tell you who to marry, what to buy, and who to vote for. Do you think that is crazy? Think again. This is your future, designed by the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum says they design the future of humanity. Let's listen to their ideas about your future.
I want to talk to you today about the future of our species and really the future of life. We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future not just of humanity, but the future of life itself.
When Yuval Noah Harari published his first book, Sapiens, in 2014, about the history of the human species, it became a global bestseller and turned the little-known Israeli history professor into one of the most popular writers and thinkers on the planet. But when we met with Harari in Tel Aviv this summer, it wasn't our species' past that concerned him. It was our future.
Life is about to break out of the limited organic realm and start spreading into the vastness of the inorganic realm. We are about to create the first inorganic life forms after 4 billion years of evolution. And in the process, our own species, Homo sapiens, is likely to disappear, not because we will destroy ourselves, but because we will change and upgrade ourselves into something very different.
In the 21st century will be to try and gain control of the world inside us, to learn how to engineer and produce bodies and brains and minds, these are likely to be the main products of the 21st century economy. In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. Then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
You can provide them with bread and circuses, and you can provide them with endless amounts of distractions and propaganda.
But this doesn't sound like a very appealing future.
We're going to become increasingly non-biological to the point where the non-biological part predominates and the biological part is not that important anymore. In fact, the non-biological part, the machine part, will be so powerful it can completely model and understand the biological part. So even if that biological part went away, it wouldn't make any difference because the non-biological part already understood it completely.
Another step then is in the 2030s, when we can actually connect our neocortex, which is where we do our thinking, to computers. So I believe that will happen in the 2030s. We will actually, so just the way this is greatly amplified by being connected to the cloud, we can connect our own brain to the cloud.
It's about connecting the human brain to artificial intelligence, and then from a central point, which you can do, to dictate the perceptions of the population. And so once that happens, a perception that says, this is not right, I'm not doing this, will not manifest, because it's not what will come through AI. This is where we're going. And so then you look at how this could be achieved. How could this connection to the human brain be achieved? Why wouldn't we think that large numbers of the 8 billion would say, I'm not doing that, no way. So what you have is Elon Musk. He is running this Neuralink, which is based on, he's doing animal trials now. They've just, I think, got permission for human trials.
An independent review board has given the green light for the company to seek people with paralysis to test its experimental device in a 6-year study. The study will use a robot to surgically place a brain-computer interface, or BCI, implant in a region of the brain that controls the intention to move. Neuralink says the initial goal is to enable people to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone.
He's talking about putting sensors in the brain and having to cut out a bit of the skull to do it. Now, when you look at it from that level, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen on the scale they're talking about. And it's a diversion from the real way that they plan to do it. And interestingly, in my new book, The Dream, I quote Elon Musk in an interview in which someone actually said that, well, you know, cutting away a piece of the skull, you know, it seems a bit extreme. But he said, oh, no, well, you don't really have to do that. He said, you can put the connection in via the veins.
I mean, there are a few ways to approach this, but some sort of interface directly with your cortical neurons particularly.
But doesn't that imply surgical insertion?
Not necessarily. You could go through the veins and arteries because that provides a complete roadway to all of your neurons.
What he means is by a
To clarify what I think you just said, that in 20 years, plus or minus, so the mid-2030s, we will have nanobots that we can feed into our brain that directly connect to the cloud rather than through anything we carry in our pocket.
Ray Kurzweil is here. He has been called the rightful heir to Thomas Edison. His new book is entitled The Singularity is Near, When Humans Transcend Biology.
I read your book, some of the most frightening and yet hopeful stuff I've ever read.
For decades, Ray Kurzweil has been an unofficial spokesman for the transhumanist movement. And in 2008, he said that humans would become infused with nanorobots, which would vastly improve the human body.
If you go out even to 2045, that's only 4 decades from now, most of our intelligence, of our human civilization will be non-biological. We're going to put this inside our bodies and brains. So we're going to become machines, but not, and if you say that, then people go, well, I don't want to become a machine, because they're thinking of machines as we knew them from the 19th century, which were much lesser than humans, and machines today are still lesser than humans. I'm talking about a new type of machine that's actually greater, more subtle, more supple, more intelligent, more creative, more beautiful than humans.
In 2010, he interviewed Robert Freitas on the future of nanotechnology, who said that nanorobots could cure aging and death.
Medical nanorobots really have the potential to extend human life more or less indefinitely. So what's your view about the role of death, and do we need death?
Death is something that is an end. It's an end to life. It's an end to progress. It's an end to thoughts. It's something to be cured. Aging is a disease. It's a curable disease. Nanomedicine is the cure for that disease.
He said that this technology is expected to be deployed by 2020, and that laws will be in place to protect the public from its misuse.
I expect that by the time nanorobots are deployed, which will be sometime perhaps in the 2020s or the 2030s, we will have a whole set of laws in place, regulations. There will be things you can and cannot do.
The laws were never put in place, but the technology was patented and deployed to billions of people without their knowledge in 2020. We know this because several independent labs have confirmed the presence of this nanotechnology in the and Bill Gates recently admitted to this as well.
Making the mRNA is really easy and really cheap, and that's the magic of this thing. But there's no doubt in the next 5 years, we can, we just need to mess around. There's a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembling.
Self-assembly and self-replication seem to be the same technology when it comes to nanorobots. And this was considered to be the greatest danger involved with the use of this technology.
Self-replication causes disease. Nanorobots are inherently much stronger than biological systems being built of diamondoid. So if they self-replicate, that disease, quote unquote, could be even a tougher problem than biological disease. So first of all, what's the feasibility of self-replication in the nanotechnology world?
As a general principle, you do not want to put self-replicating nanorobots inside the human body. I suppose not everybody agrees with me on that, but that is the way I think that we can best guarantee safety. If the nanorobots are able to replicate inside the human body, that means they are using some component of the human body as food, and we don't want them to be doing that.
In his 1986 book, Engines of Creation, Kim Eric Drexler wrote about what he termed the gray goo scenario, a hypothetical catastrophic event caused by out-of-control, self-replicating nanotechnology, which consumes the biomass of the host. And this is exactly what independent researchers are finding. It explains the large, so-called blood clots being found in the dead. And it's spreading. Evidence shows that the are shedding this to the unvaxxed.
How do we prevent a terrorist or someone who's bent on destruction from creating such a self-replicating system?
There will be some terrorist acts because that's what humans do, unfortunately. So what we're going to be needing in this era of nanofactories is something equivalent to the fire department. Hopefully the incidents will be very few, but we will have an emergency regime which is set up to deal with that type of event.
But the event is worldwide, and there is no agency set up to put out this fire. Our governments are not even discussing the problem.
Former President of Chile, Sebastián Piñera, made a public statement on national television that 5G is not only able to read our thoughts, but that it can even insert thoughts and emotions into everyone. We're talking about a dystopian nightmare.
La posibilidad de que las máquinas puedan leer nuestro pensamiento e incluso puedan insertar pensamientos, insertar sentimientos. La tecnología 5G es un cambio aún mayor en nuestras vidas de lo que han significado todas las tecnologías anteriores en esta materia.
Este es el presidente, expresidente ahora de Chile. Y cuando empezó toda esta película de ciencia ficción que llamaban COVID, está presentando el 5G, un presidente de Chile vendiendo esto como si fuera un comercial de lámparas. Pero miren ustedes lo que dice.
Junto a los ministros de Transportes y Telecomunicaciones y de Ciencias dan a conocer el inicio del proceso de licitación de la red 5G. Escuchemos.
Una de las amenazas que analizamos en esa oportunidad con los líderes del mundo es la posibilidad de que las máquinas puedan leer nuestro pensamiento e incluso puedan insertar pensamientos, insertar sentimientos. Bueno, algunos dicen que la mejor forma de predecir el futuro es inventándolo. Bueno, eso es lo que todos aspiramos. 5G es un tremendo salto adelante, es un salto cósmico, es un salto copernicano, porque realmente lo que va a significar la tecnología 5G es un cambio aún mayor en nuestras vidas de lo que han significado todas las tecnologías anteriores en esta materia. La posibilidad de que las máquinas puedan leer nuestro pensamiento e incluso puedan insertar pensamientos, insertar sentimientos.
¿Saben ustedes lo que está diciendo? Está hablando, a la vez que vende el 5G, en el ámbito de la neurociencia, primero no es un salto copernicano, es un giro copernicano, pero no le vas a pedir más. Está hablando de insertar pensamientos, es decir, que una persona reciba instrucciones a través de una inteligencia artificial. Eso es neuromodulación. Estamos hablando de alterar patrones conductuales, que es neuroestimulación, insertar sentimientos. ¿Y esto cómo se ha hecho? Pues Rafael Yuste lo que ha hecho es, utilizando el óxido de grafeno, que potencia las señales cerebrales, mapear el cerebro y ver qué áreas se estimulan cuando la persona está agresiva, cuando la persona está depresiva, cuando está triste. Muy fácil, no es tan difícil como parece. Nosotros lo habríamos hecho mejor, el doctor Sevillano y yo, pero hemos decidido tomar la vía de procurar el bien para los seres humanos. Entonces, si saben qué áreas se estimulan, las pueden estimular a distancia, de forma remota e inalámbrica. ¿No les parece raro el presidente de Chile vendiendo el 5G? ¿Pero esto no era para que Internet fuera más rápido? ¿Qué tiene que ver con insertar pensamientos? Cuando habla de máquina, se refiere a inteligencia artificial, que es el otro factor. Ahora mismo el ser humano tiene 3 peligros. La inteligencia artificial, porque se está de alguna forma utilizando para mal. La inteligencia artificial, la telaraña red que han implementado a lo largo del mundo con antenas de telefonía, que ya vemos que son mortales, y la interfaz que están introduciendo, que es el óxido de grafeno en los inyectables. Por cierto, los indicios que tenemos es que ni siquiera hay material biológico en la muestra. Por eso apuntaban a que, aunque las vacunas estuvieran caducadas, podrían volver a inocularse, que no pasaba nada, nos decía la ministra Darias, abogada además. Y efectivamente, vamos a ver que el grafeno pues se puede utilizar como monitoreo o sensor, ¿vale? Sensores basados en grafeno para el monitoreo de la salud humana. ¿Dónde? Donde hay órganos eminentemente eléctricos. Sensor del corazón, ¿vale? Y de la cabeza, sobre todo de la cabeza. Pero no solo sensor, hemos dicho que es una interfaz. Pueden monitorear, que es leer información, y pueden escribirla, que es estimularla. La siguiente, por ejemplo, es: crean con grafeno una interfaz neurológica. Ahora nos vamos, por ejemplo, a la cabeza. Sana y eficiente. Eficiente para matar, ¿eh? No se pierdan. Y, por cierto, está dentro del proyecto, el gran proyecto europeo de la Grafenfläche. Si aquí en Europa metiéramos en la Grafenfläche a todos en la cárcel, todo esto se acababa, ¿eh? Porque algunos han preguntado, ¿de dónde viene todo esto? Pues, en principio, de la Grafenfläche, como poco. Una interfaz de neuronas exterior. Neuronas hacia afuera es neuronas inteligencia artificial. Otro artículo. Desbloqueo del cerebro con la nueva tecnología del grafeno. Donde ustedes ven en ese electrodo, que parece una, no sé, una media hoja. Esos son nanopartículas o nanotubos de carbono, ¿vale? Los mismos que después vamos a ver dentro de los inyectables. Hacia las interfaces de grafeno para conectar neuronas a dispositivos electrónicos. Es decir, el grafeno es una interfaz, ¿vale? Y es lo que hay en los inyectables. Ahora entienden ustedes por qué hablaba Sebastián Piñeira. Él no lo entiende. Pero por qué hablaba de insertar emociones, insertar pensamientos, monitoreo neuronal. logran controlar, hemos dicho que la cabeza vamos directamente hacia ella, pero también hacia el corazón, porque es eléctrico, el grafeno es superconductor y se va a dirigir allí también. Cuando está en el corazón, ¿qué puede hacer? Pues con grafeno, utilizando luz pueden ser microondas perfectamente, dentro del espectro electromagnético. De forma remota, es decir, inalámbrica, por antenas de telefonía, podemos controlar miocitos y el latido cardíaco de las células. Controlar el latido cardíaco quiere decir que pueden hacer que lata 2 veces más rápido, 3 veces más rápido, cargarte un tío. Y de hecho, así es como lo dicen aquí. ¿Vale? Mover las células a voluntad. Dicen, nos sorprendió el grado de flexibilidad que el grafeno permite mover las células literalmente a voluntad. ¿Quieres que palpiten el doble de rápido? No hay problema. Solo aumenta la intensidad de la luz. O de la radiofrecuencia. 3 veces más rápido, no hay problema. ¿Matarlo? No hay problema. Es invisible, además, intangible, nadie se va a dar cuenta. De hecho, lo estamos viendo, ¿verdad? ¿Y cómo? Utilizando grafeno.
La Quinta Columna has, for the last few weeks, we've been seeing a lot come out of their studies. I think the most recent that we have seen is probably the most concerning. We've known for about a year now that graphene oxide is contained in the but I think the most concerning thing that we have found recently from La Quinta's findings is that when it is is around electromagnetic waves, it does react into self-assembling nanotubes. Here to discuss that with us today is Karen Kingston. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks for having me, Lauren, and thank you for sharing that just incredible research that La Quinta Columbia has done. It is truly groundbreaking in our battle against this bioweapon attack, transhumanism attack on the American people and the globe. And it substantiates everything that I've been sharing on the Stu Peters Show for over a year now from all the patents, as well as what other doctors like Dr. Carrie Madej and Adriana Love and Dr. Jane Ruby have shared. So it really is groundbreaking evidence that I hope and pray is brought into all of the lawsuits that shows the dangers of these injections combined with the danger of radio frequencies such as those that can come from cell phone towers, 5G, and potentially even our own phones.
All right, so in this particular study, they did use electromagnetic waves up against the Pfizer vial of the vaccine. Now, Karen, what are we looking at here?
So what you're looking at is called single-walled carbon nanotubes, SWCTNs, per the patent, that use a technology called Tesla phoresis and genetically engineered hydrogel, which is under the quantum dot technology. And this is based on, per the patents, the Bohr particle, which is based on frequencies. So when certain frequencies are given, the genetically engineered hydrogel and the graphene oxide nanotubes begin self-assembly. And that is what you're looking at. There's a video that people can look up on the Rice Institute that they look up Tesla phoresis. This is essentially a version of it. So you're looking at a advanced artificial intelligence technology that is receiving electromagnetic signals to self-amplify and build out. And according to the genetically engineered hydrogel patents and literature, it actually can use calcium in our body to further produce these tubes that we're looking at.
Now, is that what Dr. Jane possibly found with the embalmer Richard Hirschman? You said calcium deposits, and I know they're finding white fibrous clots. Is this related in any way?
U.S. life insurance companies have reported an overwhelming and unexplainable increase in all-cause deaths among 18 to 49-year-olds. Along with that, there's also been an increase in certain medical diagnoses, such as miscarriages and Bell's palsy.
Some of the strongest evidence that the medication that shall not be mentioned has caused crippling injuries and huge numbers of deaths in the population of people who took it has come from funeral home directors who have reported huge spikes in deaths in their business that correlate with the rollout of said medication and when it was forced onto the population. There is strong social and financial pressure against these professionals to go public, But a few have stood firm against this pressure, knowing that these truths must be brought to the attention of the public in an effort to save lives, no matter what the personal cost may be to themselves or their careers. One of these funeral directors has been featured in the alternative media this year, and he is Richard Hirschman from Alabama in the US. Him and his colleagues have confirmed that other funeral directors in their profession are seeing the same things they are seeing, but are too afraid to go public. Besides reporting on the huge increase in deaths they have been seeing since the rollout of the safe and effective medication, the embalmers have been reporting what they are finding inside the veins and arteries of these dead bodies. Huge blood clots that do not resemble traditional blood clots at all, but are long fibrous entities that can completely block a vein or artery.
Well, when I first started seeing these strange anomalies in the blood, it's just there's something different about the blood. All of these people that were dying, doesn't matter what they died of, they were having this unique, there's this unique change in the blood. I feel as though I am seeing something that could be causing their death. Back around November of last year, of 2021, people were asking me, well, how many people are having these strange clots? And I didn't have a very good answer for it. So starting in November, I started making notations of whether or not the person was clotted or not, or my green is people that have been verified are yellow typically is somebody that has smaller clots, and the orange is somebody that had more significant clots, the clots that are really kind of concerning to me. I have it dated for the quarter, numbered by the quarter, so the entire quarter I had about 130. Yeah, only almost 14% had no significant clotting. A lot of the substances that I'm seeing are stuff that looks pretty much, it's this white fibrous stuff.
Tom, thank you for very much for coming on this video.
John, thanks for having me on the show to talk about this very important topic.
Now, Tom, as the name would imply, has been a major in the United States Air Force for a career. Also an engineer, mathematician, and data scientist and analyst. So in a good position to do this work. Now, what on earth are we looking at here, Tom? Please.
We're looking at white fibrous clots that have been supplied by embalmers, and they're seeing these all around the world. Embalmers are seeing these clots, and they're seeing them actually in a high percentage of their corpses, unfortunately, John. And they've been seeing mostly over the last 3 years. I actually have a small vial of the clots that I can show the audience live. I'll turn it slowly around so people can see the consistency of them.
Yeah, you can see that really clearly.
Vamos a tomar igualmente jeringuillas nuevas, estériles. Y vamos a ir jugando con determinados oculares. Primero de amplio espectro, con 100-120 aumentos de lo que es la vacuna Pfizer, ¿vale? Al menos un par de dosis de la Comirnaty Pfizer. La famosa nanopartículas secretas, lipídicas de la vacuna Pfizer, que era lo que nos decían. Vamos a traer... Ay, gracias, muchas gracias. Voy a agitar mínimamente y voy a introducir la jeringa, ¿vale? Cogemos un poquito. Un culín, como decía Jesús Aguirre, efectivamente. Yo creo que es suficiente. Y ahora vamos a tomar, esto lo voy a poner así, de forma que no toque. Ahí va. Vamos a tomar un portaobjetos. ¿Me puedes ayudar? Sube, por favor. Por cierto, el motor detrás de la quinta columna, María Montero. para intentar de alguna forma eliminar, aquí se ha caído, para eliminar todas las distintas capas que pueden observarse en la microscopía óptica. Tengan en cuenta que hay un hidrogel, que de eso sí nos hablan en la versión oficial, y dentro de ese hidrogel, de esa solución acuosa, vamos a ver, pues en principio, no nanopartículas, porque desde el punto de vista de la microscopía óptica no se pueden ver, pero sí vamos a ver cómo brillan, y vamos a ir fijándonos en una especie de patrones, que son patrones claramente artificiales, cuadrangulares, que son arrastrados, esperemos que salga, me ha salido siempre, pero saben ustedes que, como todo en la vida, ocurre que en directo, bueno, lo que llaman vacunas COVID, siempre decimos que son algo más complejas que las vacunas del calendario y demás. Si en las otras aparece, por ejemplo, aparecen todo lo que es hojas de grafeno y demás, aquí además aparece de una forma, a ver, aquí tenemos ya partículas en movimiento, efectivamente. Bueno, estamos viendo con un ocular de muy baja resolución, ¿vale? Pero lo que quiero que aprecien, miren ustedes. ¿Ven aquel cristal que aparentemente parece un cristal que va por allí? ¿Eh? ¿Ven eso de ahí? Pues eso y esto, ¿ven? Que es un palito. Realmente no es un palo como tal. Cuando da la forma, cuando gira, van a ver ustedes que es, mira, lo está haciendo de hecho, que es un patrón cuadrangular. De todas formas, vamos a restar luz. Lo primero y más importante es que nada de esto tendría que verse con 180 o 100 aumentos, que es lo que tiene. 120 aumentos, con el zoom digital como mucho. Nada de esto tendría que verse. Y sin embargo todo esto se ve. Si restamos un poquito de luz, ahora se ven más claramente. Miren ustedes, por ejemplo, esto es arrastrado, como digo, por un pequeño punto, y lo que hemos observado tras mucho tiempo de observación es que al final forman estructuras más complejas, se van autoensamblando. Por cierto, todo lo que queráis grabar lo podéis hacer justamente ahora. Aquí, por ejemplo, ven esto de aquí, esto es un pedazo de grafeno, esto es una micro hoja de grafeno. Y alguno dirá, ¿y cómo lo sabes? Pues porque estamos hartos de mirarlo y porque hemos pasado el barrido de electrones por aquí y nos ha dado la vibración Raman. Entonces, una vez que caracterizamos el material desde el punto de vista químico, ya sabemos qué apariencia tiene. El grafeno es muy caracterizable además. Pero miren ustedes, por ejemplo, este de aquí. Ese punto realmente es como un cuadrado, como un rectángulo. En la literatura científica aparecen como nanotransistores basados en grafeno. Qué bien se ve aquí. Sí, sobre todo los brillantes, los brillantes por aquí. Este cuando brilla es porque gira justamente en el ángulo de la luz del condensador. Vamos a hacer una cosa. Vamos a poner un ocular más grande y nos vamos a 1200 aumentos. Esto ya es otra cosa. ¿Vale? Vamos a dar un poquito más de luz. Ustedes entenderán que todo eso no tiene que estar aquí, ¿verdad? Esos filamentos que he echado tanto en la gota con la emoción del momento, que tenemos ahí una ligera corriente. Ven ustedes que hay una banda que es arrastrada realmente por partículas que la cogen y después forman, como digo, estructuras cada vez más complejas. Vamos a probar con otra lente, con esta de aquí, que es en campo claro. Y le damos un poquito más de luz. Miren ustedes. Claramente aquello de allí que parece un sable. Esto, nada de lo que están viendo tendría que estar en una vacuna. Nada. Tendría que verse en la microscopía óptica. Esto ya es digamos, no sé cómo mencionarlo. Es un disparate, ¿verdad? Y nada de esto tendría que verse con tan poca calidad de aumentos. Como poco podríamos decir, aquí hay mucha chatarra, hay muchísima contaminación. Pero después vamos a ver en otro tipo de inyectables que eso aparece en todos prácticamente. Pero las vacunas COVID tienen este tipo de objetos que son arrastrados. Aquel de allí, por ejemplo, ese que viene por aquí, ese es casi transparente si se dan cuenta. Miren, por ejemplo, aquí a la derecha, justamente abajo del todo, en la esquina, ahí. Miren. ¿Qué es lo que estamos viendo ahí? Pues lo que estamos viendo es un autoensamblado, es decir, una estructura que se ensambla con otra. Dijimos, ¿hay algún tipo de afinidad electrónica para que eso ocurra? Puede ser, porque el grafeno está dopado o funcionalizado con distintos metales. Así es como aparece en la literatura científica. Sin embargo, esta inducción del por qué una placa se une con otra y después forman ese tipo de circuitería que da tanto miedo, es porque hay un proceso de inducción que se llama teslaforesis. Es decir, las microondas o esas instrucciones que aparecen no solo es para los inoculados, para la inducción de pensamientos, sino para inteligentemente, desde el punto de vista artificial, provocar esos autoensamblados dentro de la biología. Aparentemente nada más que por el tamaño, evidentemente ya tienes una posible trombogenicidad, porque si empezamos a unir piezas dentro de la biología, pues esto supone un problema importante. Pero cuando todo esto además se monta y finalmente empieza a emitir señales, como la que emiten los vacunados, desgraciadamente antes hemos hecho aquí un barrido y efectivamente comprobamos que aquí hay muchas personas inoculadas. Pero la investigación de la quinta columna es precisamente para ellos también, es decir, cómo pueden paliar los daños, ya lo hemos dicho, antioxidantes, antiinflamatorios y anticoagulantes. Eso es lo único que funciona. Vamos a seguir andando por ahí porque estamos viendo una gota, recuerden. Y aquí tenemos información para aburrirnos durante horas. Nos preguntamos de alguna forma, oiga, ¿por qué no hacen esto en la versión oficial? ¿Por qué no ven imágenes de lo que hay en la microscopía? Aquellos que respondían que era una pérdida de tiempo analizar inyectables, yo no lo creo, ¿verdad?
5G is not the only technology they will use to read our thoughts and emotions. Their officially promoted agenda is to transform all natural human beings into cyborgs, a symbiosis between man and machine. They claim this will enhance our lives and even give us superhuman abilities. And indeed it may do that to a certain extent. What they of course don't mention is that once you are hooked up to the cloud and are controlled by artificial intelligence, you lose every and all independence, autonomy and freedom. Then you literally become a slave of a totalitarian digital surveillance network worldwide. And there's no escaping, because once you have technological implants inside your body, it will be even easier for them to monitor you wherever you go, and to insert all kinds of commands into your body that will control you even beyond your awareness. You won't even notice it.
We've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
Do you realize what this man is actually saying? Keep in mind that he is being pushed to the forefront all over the world by social media, Facebook, by Bill Gates, by Obama, CNN, science platforms, the financial world, etc. They insist that the world listens to this man.
Eventually, within 10 or 20 or 30 years, such algorithms could also tell you what to study at college and where to work and whom to marry and even whom to vote for.
So according to Harari, we should no longer listen to our heart, our intuition, our experience, our own senses, but we should allow artificial intelligence to determine who to marry and who to vote for. This means a total takeover of the human soul, spirit, mind, and our entire life by robots.
After thousands of years, during which humans were the rulers of the world, authority and power will shift away from humans to computers, and most humans will become economically useless and politically powerless. Already today, we are beginning to see the creation of a new class of humans, the useless class.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session. You know, I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one, but let's see. Like today, we like to really talk about the recent developments of brain-computer interface and how that's really blurring the line between man and machine.
There is even like devices that can collect what you're seeing, measuring your feelings either through facial recognition devices, micro muscle movements, and so on. These data is going to be stored somewhere, so it might be in a cloud service.
I can easily imagine big tech companies having a lot of control over that data. So is that the future that's...
Yeah.
I can easily imagine big tech companies having a lot of control over that data. So is that the future that's...
Yeah.
Talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030, I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
That it's indeed their goal to track every little detail of our life is explained by Michael J. Evans, president of Alibaba Group, during the World Economic Forum.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
This madness is going so far that they want to create a worldwide network where every little detail about everybody all over the world will be known. This will then become the so-called Internet of Bodies.
We are at the beginning. When you look at it, at technology transformation, it usually takes place in the terms of an S-curve. And we are just now where we move into the exponential phase. And I agree, artificial intelligence, but not only artificial intelligence, but also the metaverse, near space technologies, and I could go on and on, synthetic biology. Our life in 10 years from now will be completely different, very much affected, and who masters those technologies in some way will be the master of the world.